students who have high levels of anxiety, of stress, students with learning disability kind of cope with how going through school and making sure that they have a scheduled system so that they could actually do their assignments and they have they finish their studying before their test on time. A lot of our students have ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, anxiety, depression, and it's just kind of coaching them to navigate through school. So we prepared the stress management workshop because we know that finals are coming up, and that's usually when a lot of the students, we feel so stressed during that time. There's so much pressure from family, from your professors. So we're just here to kind of talk about how to lessen it, like manage it in a way.
Okay, so hi, my name is Albert. Before I start, I just want to spotlight my in terms of, I'm just gonna kind of give you my situation of what's going on in my life right now. So this will help you in terms of giving perspective. So this past week, I'm also a program coordinator here at Rossier School of Education. So I have a full-time job, and I'm also a part-time grad student here. So that being said, I have 4 to 5 projects and special assignments I need to complete by, let's say, Wednesday. I have a quiz that's later tonight. I have 2 papers due by the end of this week, by Friday. So now I'm in a situation where I'm just scrambling, I'm going crazy. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm physically exhausted. Sometimes I'm doing my work and I realized I have no idea what I wrote, and it looks like I did it when I was in kindergarten. Yes, there's a lot of it. So there's a lot of gibberish. And I share this to bring it back to you guys. Like, I want you guys to participate in telling me what's going on in my life right now. What am I doing wrong? What are some of the symptoms that I'm experiencing? And what are your solutions? There's no right or wrong answer.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely. So from what I just explained about my personal situation, what are some of the symptoms that you realize? What are some of the things that I'm doing wrong? And what are some of the solutions to my problem right now?
One of the symptoms is that you're waking up at night.
Okay, and what does that mean if I wake up at night? Generally, what does that kind of entail?
Anxious.
I'm anxious.
You're not getting your rest.
Mm-hmm.
You're not energized.
That's great.
Stress.
Stress.
You're
Yes.
putting too much on your plate that you can't handle.
Can you say a little bit louder, please?
Putting too much on your plate that you can't handle.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Sleep.
Sleep. No, exactly. So the reason I'm bringing it up like this and sharing my personal experiences. At times when you live in your life, it's really hard to see it from a third person's perspective. And sometimes you need that academic coach, and sometimes you need a friend or a family to tell you, hey, you have a lot on your plate. There's a lot going on. You're not sleeping. You don't look healthy. Let's kind of stop for a second and reflect. And so that's part of stress management. That's how we can really support one another, and that's where we're going to focus on. That being said, do you want to go into prioritize?
Yeah, sure. So I guess, who here?
Oh, sorry. We're having technical difficulties. So the slide is on the behind you guys. I know it's not ideal. I apologize, but yeah.
So the first slide that we have is it shows kind of like a pie chart, I guess, of different aspects that we deal with. Like who here has work, or who here has like clubs.
Or internships, volunteer.
We have like family stuff that they have to do. So these are things that's kind of taking away from our time, from our school, and it's just knowing how to maybe balance, the pie like perfectly. So you're not just concentrating on academics, but you're also making sure that you're spending time with your family, or you're not just focused on work. You're spending time making sure you're sleeping or making sure that you're eating. A lot of our students, they get so focused on just the academics that they forget to eat, they forget to sleep, and kind of like what Albert was saying, that's not really, the best way to approach academics. So they're focused on doing well in school, but by just studying and doing all these things, they're not realizing that that's actually not the best way to go about it.
Just another thing to sign up for prioritizing. It's one thing I should have mentioned that I forgot to mention that we'll do an activity is it's balancing, right? It's balancing life and your work and other social aspects, like Paula said. I was gonna say it, but I won't ruin the next slide, so I won't. Okay.
Did you want to do the?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna pass out a quick handout sheet, something for you guys to kind of think about, reflect, and kind of do. We'll give you guys about 5 to 10 minutes to complete it. And what this is really something we call a quadrant, where you pretty much identify what's most important, not so important, and then just not important. So we're gonna give you guys about 5 to 10 minutes to complete this.
Did you want to do the?
No, yeah, we'll definitely do it.
Yeah.
So while they're doing that, we can set it up.
So let me just explain to you guys a little bit about the quadrants. It's divided into 4. So the very first one are things that are urgent, but not urgent and important. So what that means is like, what are the things that you guys need to do like today? You know, you have a quiz today. You have stuff to do by this week. You have an exam on Thursday. So those are something that you really need to do like right now. Very urgent, very important. The second one is, I believe it's important, but not so urgent. So maybe like seeing a counselor this semester, or you know, buying presents for your family during Christmas. It's important, but you don't have to do it right away. Maybe not. Or and then the third quadrant, I believe, is urgent but not really important. So you know, you get a phone call, and that's kind of urgent. You pick it up, but is it something that is really important to do right now? You know, responding to a text from your friend, is that something that, you know, it's urgent because you want to respond back, but is it really indicative of what you should be doing? And then the fourth quadrant is not important and not urgent. So just kind of things that you do on a daily basis, maybe to procrastinate. And I'll give you guys an example.
If you look behind you.
Behind you. Yeah. So this is kind of like, well, you know, my little quadrant.
It's important.
Not important. But not urgent.
Sometimes to me, like Facebook is important. Sometimes.
If you don't come to school.
We'll give you guys a couple more minutes to finish up.
You guys write about it.
Yeah.
Grading papers.
It's not important. Grading paper is urgent. But it's urgent. Oh yeah.
why don't we start wrapping it up so that we can all come back together? So does anybody want to share what they wrote in their first quadrant? Yes.
I have a paper due at 1, so.
You have a paper due at 1?
Probably good on that.
1 today.
I'm
amazing.
here to support.
Thank you for coming.
But
She really needed this.
I'm assuming it's in its final stages.
Yeah, but this is also important and urgent because I'm on the board, so I should be here for.
Okay.
this
So, well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. So then,
it's urgent.
no, but that's a great thing to bring up. So now you have 2 tasks in quadrant 1. So how do you choose which one, right? And that's kind of the balancing end. How did you prepare then for this day?
I woke up pretty early, tried to get into the library, and then checked the time, and then came here,
Mhm.
and then I'm gonna work on my paper right after this ends.
Okay, if you could control time and if you had the choice to go back into any time in the past week, what would you have done differently then?
Not forgot about the paper.
Not forget about the paper, exactly. Okay, no, exactly. So if you have not forgotten about the paper and done it, then that wouldn't be on your quadrant 1 anymore because you've already have completed that assignment.
Yeah.
So maybe that paper would have been quadrant 1 maybe a couple days ago, but not today. Okay, so that's kind of the balance we're gonna find. Anyone else? You guys want to share what you guys wrote? Any other quadrants? Yes.
I have a presentation due next week that
Okay.
I need to work on this week because it's a group presentation.
Okay.
I need to eat. That's very important.
That's true. Is that in quadrant 1 or 2?
Quadrant 1.
Quadrant 1, yeah, absolutely.
You're like, I don't
So, how many of you actually put some sort of social event in quadrant 1, which is fine. It doesn't always have to be academic. Your family could be social aspect. Yes?
I don't want to share it. But
You don't want to share it, so it's some social aspect
Yeah.
of quadrant 1. Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
In quadrant 2, the important but not urgent, I'm helping at the Flynn Cup. I'm going to be like helping find vendors for that, but it's not really urgent. I don't have to get it right now. But
Okay.
It is important.
Yeah,
Later on down the line.
absolutely. Yes.
For important but not urgent, because the second quadrant,
Uh-huh.
I put my health, getting good grades, figure out my work hours for my work, because
Mhm.
with the holidays coming, but guess what? You're a retail, so you gotta work even more. I'm like,
Okay. No,
my health,
absolutely.
see, I have a meeting on my internship next week,
Mhm.
and this particular friend of mine just she's a part of it. Just I'm very.
I love this group. It's so close. It's so close. I love it.
She's a part of it, but she's not like she's not texting me at 2:00 in the morning. Like,
Okay.
this is important, and she understands
Mhm.
that this takes a lot. So I'm really grateful.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll have one more, one of the ladies sharing here. Anyone want to share? Okay. That's okay. Do you guys want to volunteer though? I need a volunteer to kind of help me with this next exercise. Do you guys want to volunteer?
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause. Okay, so actually coming up, I will explain this exercise real quickly. Most often, including myself, which is kind of the reason why I've been having so much struggle with this, I honestly put my social life in quadrant 1. I love having, hanging out with my friends, going out, going to Disneyland, all that fun stuff. So sometimes the problem that when we do that is then we put the little things in first. So for example, I don't know if you've seen this exercise before, but play along with me. So the sand will represent the little fine bits of our life, right? Having fun, hanging out, not what's supposed to be in quadrant 1, but we somehow put it in quadrant 1. So then, I'm sorry, what was your name? Jessica's gonna help us in saying, okay, so this is Jessica's life right here. This is how much life she has spent. Okay? Her lifespan is in this little vase, wonderful vase here. And in this specific case and scenario, she's doing everything fun first. So we're gonna ask Jessica to put whatever you think is important and as many rocks as you can in the vase without overflowing it. So you can't stack it on top.
With the small ones first.
So when you
So do I prioritize like what's
you
first?
could if you want to, and then
Oh.
as you put them in, if you can read them out, what's written on the rock, that'll help us.
Okay, so family. Oh shoot. My my sleep and my rest. Oh crap! I already messed up. My friends. That's it.
Is that it? Is that all?
No, you got a couple.
Oh, you can put more in.
My personal growth.
Nice.
Okay, this is not really working out.
Dig it in.
My education.
Is that
Well, yeah, I guess that's. Can you come over here?
it's okay?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. My relationships. Okay, I think my exercise. Not that it's really evident, but.
She's good. Glasses.
Okay,
It's like Tetris.
Alright, that's a wrap, I think.
So that's about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
So what didn't we put into the rock? Do you mind reading it out for us, please?
Yeah, so I didn't put in my personal time,
Mm-hmm.
creativity, community, emotional health, time management, planning, my career. But education kind of puts it.
Okay. No, that's fair. So as you can see, because of what's going on is now we have not as much as what is really important to us inside the space into our life, right? So let's try differently now. Oh, wow, you really pushed that rock in all the way.
Yeah.
She's determined.
So you buried your sleep and rest with everything else. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. So let's start over. Like let's say now you have an empty base. Now you can redo your. You just got a reset button now.
Okay.
So now you can put in whatever you want first, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. So just put them in.
Yep.
Well, they're on.
Nice.
Great. Okay, so let's get a round of applause. You put everything in. Right? Everything that's what we consider important in career, personal, family, self-development, self-care. Everything is inside that base now. Okay? But now, what do you guys notice about the base now in terms of space and time? There's gaps.
Yes.
So what can we do with those gaps now?
Social life.
We can put it in now. So now you can
Nice.
Good job.
Very therapeutic.
Okay. See, right away you
I
can
know I
notice
can, but-
it's either more or the same amount of sand that was initially inside when we started the exercise. It's still inside that base. But the difference now is you have everything that's what you wanted in quadrant 1 or anything that you prioritize inside that time as well. So that really kind of gives you a visualization of why it's important in terms of time management, prioritization, and how that could contribute to stress management. Okay? So let's give a round of applause. So I guess we'll move to the next slide. So the big takeaway, right? It's, as I just mentioned, it's knowing how to identify, plan, and prioritize. Right? Sometimes it's gonna be tempting, of course. Friend text, hey, let's go out. We're just tailgating. There's alcohol. Let's do this, right? But if you have something planned and you know what you need to do, then it's more reasonable to say, sorry, I can't. I have something important. And it's not that you're not important. It's just I need to do this. We can hang out later, right? So it's learning that balance. The next one, being realistic. Okay, Jessica showed a prime example. She tried shoving a rock between the sands, but it didn't get too much in, right? So being realistic with yourself about your time, what your abilities are, what you're capable of doing, and also understanding different social aspects. Sometimes maybe you have to go and attend to a family gathering. Being real and true to yourself is really important as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Albert. So I guess the next title we're going to go into would be
Did it freeze again?
Oh, there it is. So it's procrastination, and we all do it. I just want to ask everybody around the room, like, what are the types of, why do we procrastinate? Or what do we do to procrastinate?
Everything but your assignment.
Exactly.
Like, literally.
Does anybody, like, have anything specific that they do?
I mean, for me, I know that a clear example would be like, I have to like do laundry, clean my room, organize like my closet all before like a paper or whatever, just because. Whereas I wouldn't normally do that.
That's actually really funny. I mean, because a lot of students are like, oh, I want to watch TV, I want to hang out with my friends. And then there was a student when we did this presentation before, she was like, oh, I clean to procrastinate. I was like, I want you in my house. Because that's the last thing that I do So that's really good. Yeah, thank you. Is there any, what you were going to say?
Yeah, I never know where to start, and I kind of feel kind of stressed out. So I'm just like, oh, I'll just watch an episode of whatever.
Like something
and then
on
like
Netflix.
5 episodes later, Netflix is like, are you still there? And I'm like, yes, I am. So, yeah.
And Netflix is so horrible because you can just click next and next.
I know.
We have one right here.
Oh, I was just gonna say surfing the web.
Right.
Whenever I'm opening up my Google Docs to start a paper, I'm like, well, I might as well check Facebook and look at NPR and
Check your email and see.
I do the stuff that I don't normally do when I'm like busy or whatever. So I'll sleep. I'll eat because I should eat something before I start something. So.
But that's like self-care though, right? That's good. And I guess it's knowing these things. If we can kind of use procrastination to, later be like, oh, I was able to kind of sleep or watch an hour of TV. I'm gonna study now, and like just make sure that you have enough time to balance that. It could work, but kind of like lack of interest, like what you were saying. Sometimes sometimes you don't know where to start. So there's you have an 8-page paper to do. You don't know what to write on your intro. Sometimes you're just distracted. You're like Albert said, your friends are calling you. They want to hang out. It's hard to say no sometimes. They're planning all these big things and they want you to come with them, but you have a midterm tomorrow and it's not really realistic for you to do that. And then sometimes you just have other responsibilities. Sometimes you might be studying. Your sister's calling you. Can you take me to volleyball practice? Your mom's like, take me grocery shopping or whatever. And it's just other responsibilities that you actually have to do throughout the week. So what are your ways to beat procrastination? Do you guys have any tips that you can share with the group?
Start early.
Start early, right?
But how likely is that going to happen?
And how do you start early?
That's a great question.
I don't know. When I really have to start a paper, I have an app that blocks like certain websites. So like,
nice.
I put even like the minimum thing like LA Times will distract me, so it's all on there, and so it'll just block it off for a certain amount of hours. Yeah, self-control app.
I have to use that. Even me, like, using that gives me anxiety. I'm like, I don't block my Facebook. But that's good. That's a good one. There's other apps too, like Calm.com that also helps you with like meditation and just kind of But we'll talk about that later on. Go ahead.
At the beginning of the semester, I print out like each month, and then I literally write out like this week is for this paper, this week is for that paper. And
Nice.
usually that happens until October came around. So, yeah.
Well, actually, we brought calendars. So Albert, if you want
Yeah.
to pass that, we actually so this is just November and December. So I know we're already second week of November. So hopefully that could. Do you mind explaining kind of what you wrote down on that calendar?
Yeah, I know it takes me a long time to write papers, so like I literally will plan like a whole week out, so I don't have to rush myself to do it in a weekend.
Nice.
So and then I like check off every day, and then obviously if I see it on there and I haven't started it, then it's like I really need to like start doing it.
Yeah. How does it feel like crossing it out?
So amazing. Like really when I use my highlighter, it's like, oh, I did that and I did that.
Nice.
But it does get complicating when other priorities get in the way, and then if you have a commitment to something, then it's like really difficult because school is like for me like a first commitment, but family's even before that.
Right.
And then
Of
comes
course.
like other positions after that. But sometimes I think like you can't really do what you really want to do because you have to commit
There's
to
other
something
things.
else, so.
So yeah, I mean, in the calendar, it's also good to have like for the semester calendar, it's so good to have like the big, midterms or your finals. I know finals are coming up, so and with finals, there's like papers that you have to do too on top of that. So maybe doing some of the papers ahead of time, kind of like what you were saying. If it's a research paper, start looking for articles or, and a lot of students they think that when writing a paper, you have to start in the introduction. Sometimes maybe if the body paragraph is something easier for you to write, get that started first and then go back to the intro and fix it. And just little stuff like that. So just ways to kind of beat procrastination would be, like she said, keeping track of time, especially with the calendars, being able to just have that awareness of, hey, how long am I going to take to do this assignment? How long am I going to study for my bio class? And then kind of backtrack, like, oh, it's going to take me 2 weeks to do this paper, so I'm going to start here. Who here like use reminder notes like Post-its? Nice. Yeah, I see. I know like Mac has Post-its, but I have Post-its on top of my Mac. So yeah, I just like writing better. And reward yourself. Take little breaks. Like take Netflix break, but not too long. I have a student who every paragraph that she finishes when she's reading, she would take a bite of like a dark chocolate or something to just kind of encourage her to to proceed. It's just some of our students, they feel like there's so much going on. It gets really overwhelming, and I think the fourth slide, the bullet point, kind of breaking it down into bits and pieces really help. So when it feels really overwhelming, writing it down and like I said, what are the steps that I need to take to finish this paper? What are maybe if you have 5 chapters for your midterm or 10, doing one of them every day just would definitely help into beating instead of doing all the fun stuff and then leaving the all those 10 chapters on a Sunday and your midterms on Monday.
Yeah, just on a side note, of course, if you have a paper, you want to start it a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance if you can, just so you can, the reason for that is obviously you can edit, revise. You'll never, even for me right now at my level, I'll never reach the level that I want to be in terms of being a writer. So that's an always constant improvement. So every time starting early for paper, especially papers, is really important. And just talking about keeping track, reminder notes, and rewarding yourself, there's, I think, Paul, are we going to talk about the micro and the macro view of it?
Sure.
Yeah, if you want to get on that. Okay. So, you can look at it in a macro, which is meaning the bigger picture, right? You can plan out the months, the weeks, and then the micros, you can plan out for the days, right? Specific day, how you're going to do it. And one thing for me personally, I don't know about you guys, so when I take a break from writing my essay, I don't want to start on it again. I said, I've done enough for the day. I'm going to go hang out. I'm going to go play a game or do something. But what I realized is really resourceful in terms of having this planning process is before you go take that break is take a little notes down. Plan the next hour. Okay, or 2 hours. Right? Let's say you take an hour break. You're going to come back. where did you leave off, how are you going to start again, and what's the next step. Because once you start, you're in this mindset, right? Your brain is working, it's running. But when it's running, you don't want to simply shut it off and walk away and try to come back and start it because it's really difficult to do so. But while it's running, right before you take a break, plan it out. Okay, what am I going to do when I come back? Where did I leave off? Where was my thought process? So having those kind of skills is really resourceful when you're writing papers, for example.
Thank you. Yeah, so, recently actually one of my students came in because she had a lab report and she wanted to go running before she starts doing it. So I suggested, she was like, oh, I'm scared that if I come back from running, I don't want to do my essay anymore. I was like, well, why don't you just open your laptop and, open your Word document and maybe even write the title, and then when you go running and then you come back, you'll see that it's there and it's going to motivate you more to do that. So that even just like little things like that would definitely kind of activate your brain into being, hey, I have to do this. Okay, fine. It's already open. My book's already open. I might as well just read it. And, just little tactics like that could be beneficial. Social support for task completion. Who here study with their friends? Sometimes it's not useful, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's distracting. So if you have a really good support network where you encourage each other, then that would be good. Sometimes you just end up talking about something else. And that kind of goes to the next point, which is modify the environment. And that's, who here likes to study at a library? Who here likes to study when there's like noise or a coffee shop? So it's just knowing, where you want to study and where you're most productive. Yeah, I like studying at a coffee shop better than a library sometimes. And then just establishing a routine. Did you want to touch on the routine?
I can move on to a little bit later, maybe down the line.
Okay, and I think, but it's the last.
Okay. Oh, this is last. Okay. So we're just gonna pass out one more handout real quick, and as we're passing this out, let's kind of, I wanted to really engage everyone more than we did this on purpose, is kind of talking about what are some of your struggles, what are some of your stresses. So we'll just leave it open. We'll keep it very close here. So does anyone want to share, like, for example, like you can share one of something that happened recently, maybe something you're concerned about. Anything else that you guys want to share?
Like what are current stresses?
Exactly.
I have a group project name.
Okay.
And it's for the rest of the semester, and we have a group meeting at 12.
Okay.
Is it tough working in a group?
It depends. Not this particular group.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So then, in everything we just pretty much touched on, what would you do differently, or how would you want to do something, approach something different, or your specific assignment in terms of reducing stress?
Actually work on it before going to the meeting.
Actually working on it. Okay. So preparing for the meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know one thing that's been stressing me out at internship is notes, like documentation.
Okay.
And just like the time that you're there. So, and something that I feel that's helpful is like writing post-its. I literally write like everything I need to know for, and then every time I do it, I'm like, okay, one less, and then because if not, I'm using my Outlook.
Okay.
It keeps me on task of what I should be doing at that time, and not like, oh, what am I doing now? Okay, I should be doing this.
Okay. Has there ever been a point where you have more than 5 post-its?
I did have like those long ones, but
Okay.
I've had like 15 things on it. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you keep track with post-it stuff? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because sometimes post-it is a great tool to have, but at the same time, it could be your worst enemy too, because you start putting it and you start posting everything, saying I'll get to it, and then what that creates is you overwhelm yourself, right? You have an entire wall of post-its of things to do, and you just keep adding onto it. So that's something you keep in mind, is when those post-its are there, depending on the projects, for me, my good rule of thumb is no longer than 2 days, so 48 hours, regardless of the time. If it's more than for 2 days, then it's up there for way too long. But if it's something smaller, shorter time, right? So learning how to time manage again. So thank you. Anyone else?
I'm a part-time student because I work full-time,
Okay.
and we're very short-staffed right now, so
Mhm.
everyone that I work with in my department is extremely stressed out,
Okay.
and I realized after a few months that I can't take on more
Mhm.
than I can actually get done, so that was playing into really being realistic with myself and
Mhm.
having that open communication with my supervisor to be honest
Excellent.
and upfront with her and
Okay.
say, listen, I'm not able to do X, Y, and Z. Can
Mhm.
you assist me in prioritizing all these tasks?
Right.
Because there's just so much to do. Sometimes I walk in, I'm just like, oh my god, I don't even know where to start. Like,
Okay.
automatically stressed out.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry, what was your name?
Jenna.
Jenna. So, Jenna's sharing her experience in terms of at work, you know, and one thing she took initiative is she understood the situation and she approached her supervisor to speak with her, saying, I can do the work, it's just in terms of time and what I'm allowed to do, I can't do it in time. So then if we could bring it back to academics now, what would that look like?
Like stress?
Stress being one of it, but also the specific situation is you're overwhelmed. You're taking X amount of classes, you have X amount of assignments, you have your personal life going on the side. What is something that you can do?
Say something.
Say something.
I can kind of relate because I'm a part-time student as well.
Okay.
I like to kind of designate days on when I'm actually going to work on school stuff.
Okay.
So if I have like work,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been like exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and literally it's like, how am I going to wrap my head around starting a paper or whatever the case?
Mm-hmm.
I won't start it that night, but I'll give myself maybe just one day of rest and free time, and then really focus on, you know, the next day, what have you.
Right. No, absolutely. That's a great strategy.
And kind of balance my day at work, so then at night I will have energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know ideally you know, it doesn't go that way. I know that, but it's happened or it's worked in the past.
Absolutely.
Just
Okay.
having that structure kind
Yeah,
of.
even the
Yeah.
mentality of
Yeah.
the structure
Mhm.
makes me kind of feel good, or like small goals.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one, like compartmentalizing, so like I don't bring my internship work to like where I do my homework,
Mm-hmm.
because then it makes like the levels of stress even higher.
Can you explain what you mean by
So like I never bring like stuff for my internship home because I usually do my homework at home,
Okay.
or like that's where I'm gonna relax.
Okay.
So I don't want to bring that with me.
Right.
I just kind of always keep it there. So even if I have to stay a little bit later, I will to finish it, so I don't have to bring it
Right.
to like another aspect of my life.
So then that goes back to modifying the environment, right?
Yeah.
So it's understanding your environment, understanding your situation, and then you start creating that. Sometimes what most students, including myself, and even sometimes even deans may not even realize is you have control, a lot of control. Sometimes it feels like you don't have control because of the situation, the stress, but in reality you have a lot of control in terms of what you can do, what you can finish, where you want to work, and how much you want to get done, right? And then going back to Jenna's example or her experiences, and relating it back to academics. If you're a student, and this is for myself, and I have all these things going on the side, I have assignments after assignments, I go speak to my professor. I go meet him or her and just be like, I understand this is due in about 2-3 weeks, but at the same time, I have 5 assignments due on the same weekend. Is there something we can work out where I can maybe either turn it in early, turn it in a little later? Can we make an agreement here? Believe it or not, most professors will work with you. And the reasons being is because, first of all, you're showing initiation, right? You're being proactive about it. You're not sitting in the last minute saying, okay, I need this now because I didn't get to do it. If you do it in the last minute, not so much. But if you get enough time, then you can speak with the instructors and try to negotiate a time where everything can be completed. So it's like utilizing your supervisors, asking for more direction, more guidance, because that's what our instructors are here for. Did you want to get into the establishing routine now?
Yeah, sure. So the handout that we just passed around, it's pretty much setting up routines that are going to be beneficial for your health. I saw that you guys have self-care packages that has like some meds, and that is pretty cool. But how do we try to develop a routine that would not lead us to being stressed out or not lead us to becoming, being so stressed that we're actually getting really sick? So just a list of tips that we have here would be like to, limit your caffeine intake, exercise regularly, make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Like we said, taking a break, maintaining a sense of humor. I feel like everybody here has a great sense of humor. And then engaging in healthy things, concentrating on your breath, slower, deeper, longer breathing, meditation. Who here meditates? Anybody? Nice. I was telling her about the website. It's called calm.com, CALM.com, and it actually guides you into meditation. So I haven't tried it yet. We tried it at our meetings, but I haven't done it personally. So I think I might start doing it when I'm stressed out. So all it does is you click like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and it just kind of walks you through meditation. Sometimes it's good to do it like in the middle of the day, just to kind of when you're really stressed out. And like Albert was saying, talk to a friend or a mentor or your professors if you have any issues that might be keeping you from doing your best task.
So it's a quick survey in terms of sleep. How many gets an average sleep of 7 to 8 hours? Raise your hand if you get 7 to 8 hours a day. Every day, 7 to 8 hours. Okay, thank you. How about? I'm sorry. Who gets more than 8 hours of sleep a day? Okay, not anymore. Okay, good. How about 5 to 6 hours? 5 to 6 hours. Anything below 5? 4.5. Oh, okay, you could function. Okay, but if you look, so thank you. So you see as more and more you will see individuals in the when you need an average about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, right, to be healthy, etc., right? But mostly as you keep moving forward and during exams, midterms, finals, essays, all those good fun assignments that we got turned in that our wonderful professors assign us, is our hours of sleep actually gets reduced to maybe 4 hours or less sometimes. Or sometimes, even this happened to me, I don't sleep at all. I'll pull an all-nighter, just grind through it. I can't do that anymore now. My body doesn't like appreciating it, right? But the reason I share that is because sleeping actually is scientifically proven to you're cognitively more conscious. Your quality will increase significantly. When you're writing that essay and you're fully awake, you notice that grammar mistake that you have not noticed before. There's little things like you might not notice it right away, but over time your quality will improve over time. So that's the importance of sleep, and also just overall your physical, your body needs to rest. We're running 24/7. We need a rest, and also, what's one of the biggest muscles in our body that's constantly working? The brain? No, it's actually the heart. The heart's pumping every second, right? And every time we're awake, it pumps faster than when you would be sleeping. So you're actually giving that a break, so that really relieves stress in your body. In terms of anxiety and everything, that's where it gets reduced. Okay? And I just was looking at the handout real quick. I think these are wonderful handouts here. Just reviewing it. And I think, are we here till 12? Okay. So we'll wrap it. So sleep, well-being, understanding, what your body needs. When your body starts shutting down, listen to it. Don't ignore it. Don't play off saying, "Oh, I'm sick." No. Take a minute. Relax. Try to figure out, okay, what's going on? Did I get in contact with someone I was sick with, or is it how many hours have I been sleeping this past week? What am I stressed out? Am I anxious? Reflect and analyze your own self. That's really important. Sometimes we're running, we don't want to look at ourselves. So take that time to really look at yourself. That's really important.
And just a final note, you guys.